Hello students, welcome to your social studies session. In today's session, we will study civics. Chapter 3, what is government? In this chapter, we will cover 5 topics. Number 1, definition and the work of government. Number 2, levels of government. Number 3, types of government. Number 4, laws and government. And number 5, democratic government. So let us first understand what is government. Student government refers to a group of people who have the authority to run or govern a country or a particular state or a ministry or an office. Every country needs a government to make decisions and get the things done. These can be decisions about where the roads should be built, where a school should be constructed, or how to reduce the price of onions when they get too expensive, or the ways to increase the supply of electricity. The government also takes actions on many social issues. For example, it has launched several programs to help the poor. It does other important things such as running postal and railway services as well. The government also has the job of protecting the boundaries of our country and maintaining peaceful relations with other countries as well. Also, it is the responsibility of the government to ensure that citizens have enough food to eat and good health facilities. Whenever there is any natural disaster like tsunami or an earthquake, it is the government that mainly organizes the aid and assistance for the affected people. If there is any dispute or if someone has committed any crime, you find people in a court. Therefore, courts also play a part of the government. Now let us move on and study about the levels of government. Students, there are primarily the 3 levels of the government. At the topmost level, we have the union government or the state government. Then we have the union government or the central government. And after central government, we have the state government, followed by the local government. The local government is further divided into 2 parts, which is municipality, which is for the small villages, which is for the small towns and the cities, and then the panchayat, which is for the village. The government works at different levels. At the local level, we have the village, town, or the locality. The state level means that it covers the entire state, such as Haryana or Assam, and the national level means that it covers the entire country. There are different forms of government as well. For example, the autocracy, in which the entire power lies in the hands of one person. Then we have oligarchy, in which the power lies in the hands of few people. Then theocracy, where the power is held in a group of people, which is led by a single individual. Then we have democracy, which is the most recent form of government, in which the citizens hold the power to choose the government. The democracy type of government is of 2 types, presidential and parliamentary. In the presidential type of government, the citizens elect their president, and in the parliamentary form of government, the citizens elect their prime minister or elect their legislature. Who gives the government the power to make decisions or enforce laws? The answer depends upon the type of government in which we live. In a democratic government, it is the people who give the power to the government. They do this by participating in the elections in which they vote for particular persons and elect them. Once these people are elected, they form the government. In a democracy, the government has the power to explain its actions and defend its decisions to the people. For example, democracy is there in India and the United States of America. Another form of government is monarchy. The monarch has the power to make decisions and run the government. The monarch may have a small group of people to discuss matters, but the final decision lies in the hand of the monarch. Unlike in democracy, the kings and the queens do not have to explain their actions or defend to the people. For example, in Oman, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. Now let us move on to the next topic, which is laws and government. The government makes laws and everyone has to obey these. This is the only way the government can function. Just like the government has the power to make decisions, similarly, it has the power to enforce its decisions as well. For example, if there is a law that says that all persons driving a motor vehicle should have a license. Any person caught driving without a license can be sent to jail or fined a large sum of money. Without these laws, the government cannot take decisions, and their laws are not of use if we do not follow them. In addition to any action that the government can take, there are also steps that people can take if they feel that a particular law is not being followed. If a person feels, for example, that they are not hired for a job because of their religion or caste, he or she may approach the court and claim that the law is not being followed. The court can give orders about what should be done to the government. Now let us study about the most common form of government in today's time, which is a democratic form of government. Students, India is a democracy, and this achievement is the result of a long and an eventful struggle of the Indian people. There are other places in the world where people have also struggled to have democracies. You now know that the main feature of a democracy is that the people have the power to elect their leaders. So, in a sense, a democracy is the rule by the people. The basic idea of being a democratic country is that people can rule themselves by participating in the decision-making process of the government. Democratic governments in our time are usually referred to as representative democracies. In representative democracies, people do not participate directly, but instead they choose their representatives through an election process. These representatives meet and make decisions for the entire population. These days, a government cannot call itself democratic unless it allows what is known as universal adult franchising. Students, universal adult franchising means that all the adults who are 18 years and above in a country are allowed to vote. But this was not always like this. Can you believe that there was a time when government did not allow women and the poor to participate in elections? In their earliest forms of governments, allowed only men who owned property and who were educated to vote. This meant that women, the poor, the property less, and the uneducated were not allowed to vote. The country was governed by the rules and regulations by the wealthy and the educated men only. Nowhere in the world have governments willingly shared power. All over Europe and USA, women and the poor had to fight for their right for participation in the government. Women's struggle to vote got strengthened during the First World War. This movement is also known as women's suffrage movement, as the term suffrage means right to vote. During the war, many men were far away from their homes, which meant that the entire responsibility of the house had fallen on the shoulders of the women. Many women began organizing and managing different kinds of works. When people saw this, they began to wonder why they had created so unfair stereotypes about women and what they were capable of doing. So women began to be seen as equally capable of making decisions during the time of the First World War. The suffragettes demanded the right to vote for all women, and to get their demands heard, they chained themselves to railings in public places. Many suffragettes were imprisoned and they went on hunger strikes and had to be fed by force. American women got the right to vote in 1920, while the women in UK got their right to vote in 1928. In India, before independence, only a small minority was allowed to vote, and they therefore came together to determine the fate of the majority of the population of India. Several people, including Gandhiji, were shocked at this unfair practice and demanded that all the adults should have the right to vote. This is what we call universal adult franchising. Writing in the journal Young India in 1931, Gandhiji said, I cannot possibly bear the idea that a man who has got wealth should get the vote, but a man who has got character but no wealth or literacy should have no vote. Or that a man who honestly works by the sweat of his brow, day in and day out, should not have the right to vote only because he is poor. So this was about a quick explanation of Civics chapter number 3, what is government. Let us look at few questions in this slide. Very short question and answers. Question number 1. What are the subjects on which the state government makes laws? Question number 2. Name the 3 levels at which the government works. Question number 3. Which is the highest court of India? Question number 4. What is a ballot paper? Question number 5. What is the main function of a government? Question number 6. What are the 3 branches of the Indian government? Short question and answers. Question number 1. Why do you think elections are required after a fixed period? Question number 2. Describe the levels of government. Question number 3. What is a parliament? Question number 4. What do you mean by decentralization of power? Question number 5. Write a short note on representative democracies. Question number 6. Explain the monarchy type of government. Long question and answers. Question number 1. What are the main features of a democratic country? And question number 2. Democracy is a better form of government. Explain. You are requested to solve these questions with the help of the explanation and the reading of this chapter. Thank you.